Think of one person, not just someone you dislike. I'm talking about the person who can change your mood in seconds. Maybe it's a colleague, a family member, an ex-partner, or someone online you've never even met. Just hearing their name creates something in your body, a tightening, an irritation, a rush of emotion before you've even had a conscious thought. Now, here's the uncomfortable question. Why them? Out of the billions of people on this planet, why does this particular person affect you so much? Because if they were truly the problem, everyone would react to them the same way. But they don't. Some people barely notice them. Others even like them. So what exactly are you reacting to? Carl Jung believed that our strongest emotional reactions are rarely random. They point towards something deeper, something hidden, something unconscious. And what if your triggers are not interruptions to your healing, but invitations into it? Today we're going to explore why certain people trigger you, what modern trauma research tells us about emotional reactions, how the nervous system shapes perception, why admiration and irritation often come from the same place, and how to use your triggers as a tool for self-awareness instead of suffering. And stay until the end, because I'll guide you through a simple exercise that can completely change how you see the person who triggers you most. Part 1. The mystery of the trigger. Let's start with a simple observation. Not everything bothers everyone. One person thinks confidence is inspiring. Another thinks it's arrogance. One person sees directness. Another sees aggression. One person sees independence. Another sees selfishness, the same behavior. Completely different reactions. Why? Because we don't experience reality directly. We experience reality through our personal history, through memories, beliefs, emotions, and experiences stored inside the nervous system. This is where Carl Jung's idea of projection becomes important. Projection happens when we unconsciously attribute parts of ourselves to other people. Sometimes those are qualities we've rejected. Sometimes they are qualities we've never developed. And sometimes they are wounds we haven't healed. Jung famously said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Not because the other person is innocent, but because our reaction contains information. The intensity of the reaction often tells us more than the event itself." Think about Vincent van Gogh. During his lifetime, many people saw a struggling artist. Some even thought his work was strange or insignificant. Today, he is considered one of the greatest artists who ever lived. The paintings didn't change, people's perception did, and that's important. What we see in the world is never completely objective. It's filtered through our own beliefs, experiences, and emotional state. The same thing happens with people. The version of someone you react to isn't necessarily the same version someone else experiences. Part 2. Your nervous system reacts before you think. Here's something fascinating. Neuroscience shows that emotional processing happens incredibly fast. Before your rational mind has time to analyze a situation, your nervous system is already scanning for safety or danger. Your brain constantly asks, "Have I experienced something like this before?" And if the answer is yes, old emotional patterns can activate instantly. This is one reason why trauma survivors often react strongly to situations that seem small to other people. The reaction isn't coming only from the present moment, it's connected to the past. For example, imagine you grew up in a home where criticism was constant. Years later, your manager gives constructive feedback. Logically, you know it's not an attack, but your body reacts as if it is. Your heart rate increases. Your muscles tense. You feel defensive. The trigger isn't the feedback. The trigger is the meaning your nervous system learned to attach to it. This is why healing isn't just changing thoughts. It's also helping the body learn that the present is not the past. Many people spend years trying to think their way out of emotional reactions, but healing often begins when we become aware of what the body is already doing. Part 3. When judgment is actually memory. Most people think judgment is objective, but often it's emotional memory disguised as certainty. When we say, "She's so arrogant," "He's impossible," they are too emotional. We often believe we're describing reality, but sometimes we're describing our reaction to reality. Let me give you an example. A woman becomes intensely irritated by people who confidently express their opinions. She labels them arrogant. After deeper reflection, she realizes something. Growing up, she learned that speaking up was dangerous. Being visible brought criticism. So every confident person unconsciously reminds her of a part of herself she was never allowed to become. The irritation wasn't only about them, it was also about her own suppressed voice. Here's another example. Think about Frida Kahlo. She painted her pain openly, her grief, her suffering, her vulnerability. Some people feel deeply moved by her work, others feel uncomfortable. Why? Because authenticity can be confronting. Someone else's honesty can reveal emotions we've spent years trying to avoid. Sometimes, what we judge in others isn't the quality itself. It's the feeling it awakens inside us. This is where triggers become powerful teachers, because they reveal hidden stories we may not even know we're carrying. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because the same psychological mechanism that creates irritation also creates admiration. And once you understand this, you'll see relationships, attraction, and even personal growth very differently. Has someone ever triggered you for reasons you couldn't quite explain? Think of the first person who comes to mind, and tell me in the comments, what is it about them that affects you so deeply? Your answer might reveal more about you than you think, and if this resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on personal growth and self-awareness. Part 4, the projection nobody talks about. Most people understand negative projection. Very few understand positive projection. Think about someone you deeply admire, a mentor, a spiritual teacher, a celebrity, someone who seems magnetic. Maybe you see confidence in them, freedom, wisdom, authenticity. What if part of what you're seeing is actually your own unrealized potential? Jung believed that we don't only project our wounds, we also project our gifts. We place qualities onto others that are waiting to be developed within ourselves. This is why people can become obsessed with partners, teachers, or public figures. They aren't only seeing the other person, they're seeing a reflection of something they long to embody. And when the projection fades, disappointment often follows. Not because the person changed, but because reality replaced fantasy. The lesson is not to stop admiring people. The lesson is to ask, what quality am I seeing in them that wants to awaken in me? Think about the first time you saw someone living with complete freedom or confidence. The reaction may have felt like admiration, but underneath it might have been recognition, a glimpse of a part of yourself asking to be expressed. Part 5, a holistic view. Emotions live in the body. In many holistic traditions, emotions are not seen as purely mental experiences. They are physical experiences as well. Traditional Chinese medicine, for example, associates different emotional patterns with different organ systems. Whether you take these associations literally or symbolically, the message is valuable. The body remembers. Anyone who has experienced anxiety knows this. You don't just think anxiety, you feel it in your chest, your stomach, your breathing. The same is true for triggers. When someone activates an emotional wound, your body often responds before your mind understands what's happening. That's why awareness of bodily sensations can reveal more than endless analysis. Sometimes, healing begins with simply noticing, what is happening in my body right now? Where do I feel this reaction? What emotion is underneath it? The body is often speaking long before the mind catches up. Part 6, real-life mirrors. Let's make this practical. At work, a colleague constantly speaks over everyone. You feel angry. The mirror might be, have I learned to silence myself? In relationships, you repeatedly attract emotionally unavailable partners. The mirror might be, where am I unavailable to myself? Where do I abandon my own needs? In family dynamics, a parent criticizes you. Suddenly, you're no longer responding as an adult. You're reacting as the child who wanted approval. The situation is happening now, but the emotional charge comes from somewhere much older. Think about the paintings of Salvador Dali. Some people find them fascinating, others find them disturbing. The images are the same, but each person reacts differently. Why? Because the unconscious mind responds to symbols in unique ways. Dali's art often acts like a psychological mirror. People don't only see the painting, they see themselves reflected through it. In many ways, the people who trigger us function similarly. They activate something that already exists within us. This is how triggers reveal unfinished stories. Part 7, the mirror exercise. Let's try this together. Think of someone who strongly triggers you. Picture them clearly. Notice your body. What happens inside you? Now ask yourself, what specifically bothers me about this person? Be precise. Controlling, self-centered, arrogant, needy, dismissive? Now ask, where does this quality exist in me? Not in exactly the same way, but anywhere. Even subtly, even occasionally. Then ask, what emotion is underneath my reaction? Fear, shame, rejection, abandonment, powerlessness. And finally ask, what is this trigger trying to teach me? Not about them, about me. Take a moment with that, because this question alone can reveal more than years of blaming other people. Final integration. The goal isn't to stop being triggered. The goal is to become conscious of your triggers, because unconscious triggers control your life. Conscious triggers can transform it. Sometimes the mirror shows a wound that needs healing. Sometimes it shows a gift waiting to emerge. Sometimes it reveals a boundary that needs to be strengthened. And sometimes it simply reminds you that perception is never as objective as it feels. The people who trigger you most are often carrying a message. Not always about who they are, but about what is happening inside you. And when you learn to listen, the trigger stops being an enemy and becomes a guide. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What is one trigger you're currently learning from? And if you'd like more content on Jungian psychology, shadow work, trauma healing, breathwork, and holistic health, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and keep meeting yourself in the mirror.